This Impact Wrestling review was brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Try it, and next week TNA will lock the door so Tommy Dreamer can't get into the building. This Yeah. Prepare yourselves, TNA, because I'm not letting this go until it happens. Now, with that said, how about Impact this week? It's kind of a strange place that TNA find themselves in right now. For the longest time, one of my main gripes with this company is that they tend to make the same mistakes over and over and over without really learning anything from them. And now here we have a situation where TNA appear to be correcting some of the problems that have been weighing down this show recently, while at the same time falling back on some of the old habits that I was really hoping they'd grown out of by now. If the last 2 weeks are any indication, I think I'm really going to enjoy Kurt Angle as the executive director for however long it lasts. How refreshing to have an authority figure who doesn't constantly need his ego stroked, who doesn't need to be in the spotlight all the time, who's just there to do his job, facilitate storylines when he needs to, but for the most part stands back and lets the wrestlers carry the show. My God, what a difference that makes. And isn't this the way it should be, damn it? Yes! I am loving these short but sweet opening segments. Kurt Angle starts the show, he talks about the theme of the show, this Champions Showcase thing. He announces the night's matches, he pushes an angle with Jeff Hardy. Before you know it, we've already moved on to the first match of the night, and we're barely 13 minutes into the show. Angle got in and got out, quick and easy, and they still covered all the important stuff. The show didn't lose anything for him not having a huge presence. If anything, it was made better by the authority figure not making the whole show all about him for once. And look how much better the pacing of the show is because of this. Look at all the time they're saving this way. They didn't have to edit out tons of wrestlers' entrances or cut matches short like they used to. Hell, after the entrances for the tag title match, they went to commercials, and they actually waited until the show came back from commercials for the match to start. I couldn't believe it. Suddenly title matches have the time to actually feel like title matches. This is great! By the way, how ironic was it that they finally got around to actually explaining the Willow gimmick on the same night that Jeff Hardy dropped it? Only in TNA. Use the authority figure only when necessary, and it frees up a lot of time you can use to make the rest of the show better. That right there is a huge improvement over the way TNA were doing things previously. But then some other things happened that I was less enthusiastic about.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
A couple years ago, TNA somehow got it in their heads that instead of trying to break new ground and chart their own course or whatever, an ECW nostalgia trip was the way to take their product to the next level, brother. Hence we had the debacle that was EV 2.0, as well as that freaking terrible Hardcore Justice pay-per-view, which was complete crap no matter what Tommy Dreamer would have you believe. I'm sorry, Tommy, but it's true. And what did all this really accomplish in the long run? Not a goddamn thing. So you can probably imagine what was going through my head when TNA were promoting a face-to-face encounter between Bully Ray and Rhino as one of the main selling points of this episode. All due respect to them, I just don't want to do this again. And the crazy thing is, this promo segment was actually very good. Bully and Rhino were great here, but they're talking about stuff that I just have no interest in reliving at this point. I don't care why Rhino got fired from WWE. I don't care if he thinks Bully Ray sold out to get into the Hall of Fame. I don't care to see these guys interacting anymore. I'm concerned about the future these days, okay? I prefer to let the past stay in the past.
And that's the fishing line, 'cause Shark Boy said so.
So now Rhino is going to be EC3's hired muscle? I don't see why EC3 needs that. He was doing perfectly fine without it. Besides, the very idea that the hardcore American icon of wrestling needs muscle, needs protection, is absolutely laughable. And then before you know it, Tommy Dreamer comes out to even the odds, and I'm like, for God's sake. Seriously, why are we involving Tommy Dreamer in this again? I respect the guy, but does he really need to be on TV at this point?
It's not the 90s anymore, and nobody wants to see you in spandex.
The two ways of looking at this are TNA once again not having enough confidence in their own talent to carry the show, thus thinking they need to bring in whatever stars from the past from other companies that they can get their hands on, or using some of these people temporarily in an aggressive approach to promoting their New York TV tapings, which seem to work judging from reports. If that's all this is really about, that's one thing. But if that were the case, then why is Rhino back on the roster page? There's reason to think that TNA are just trying a different type of advertising gimmick here, but there's also reason to be skeptical and think that they're falling back on old habits. Which one is it, TNA? Which one is it?
Well, I guess that just depends.
Good stuff from Bobby Roode and MVP. Not too much to say about this. The promos were solid. I'm enjoying the aggressive, take no bullshit babyface Bobby Roode. I like how they've kind of put him and Eric Young together here with Roode taking the lead. It's probably best to ease off on EY a little bit. I don't know how long MVP is going to be out of action for, so I'm not sure how long they can drag this out, but it looks like they're setting up Roode versus Lashley at some point, possibly Bound for Glory. I wouldn't expect Lashley to lose the title before then. If that's the plan, I'm cool with it. I just don't think they can prolong it until then without adding some more people to this feud. If Bram and Magnus are going after the tag titles now, count me in. The company seems to be behind this pairing. The Wolves need someone to feud with, and God knows this is a more compelling feud than the bromance we're ever going to give them. I like the dynamic here a lot, with the big brawler types against the smaller high-flying dudes. They had a nice match here with some decent time. It has a clean finish. The heels get heat with the post-match attack, so there's unfinished business here. All good things. I really enjoyed this. Now, I have seen the spoilers. I know what's coming up next for the Wolves, so this may be put on the back burner for a while, but I hope they revisit it before too long because I think there's a good potential feud here. Austin Aries versus Sonata. Why can't we get X Division action like this more often? Man, this was good. I was talking about near falls last week, and did you see, TNA, how much near falls can help matches like this? Did you see when Aries kicked out after the moonsault and Sonata kicked out after the brainbuster, how much more exciting this match became? This was terrific, due in no small part to the fact that they actually had enough time for it to be terrific. Best match of the night, and probably the best X Division match we've seen this year.
Yes! 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 Yes!
I was glad to see Aries win the title back. With Option C coming up pretty soon, he's really the only compelling guy to roll with. And I think Lashley versus Aries could be very good, so there's that to look forward to. It's kind of a shame about Sonata losing the title, though. I thought he was a fine champion, they just never really did anything with his title reign. But it looks like they're going in a new direction with him now with this James Storm angle, so maybe this was done for a reason. The Knockouts Fatal 4-Way I didn't think was a bad match. It was okay, but it felt kind of clunky. There were some pacing issues here, with parts being slower than they should have been, which felt like it threw the whole thing off. But I was happy that at least Brittany did not eat the pin this time. I'm hoping that Gail Taryn and Brittany Madison will take over now as the main knockout feuds for a while, and hoping that Angelina getting pinned here is a sign that the Beautiful People's push is done. Angelina has been really unimpressive lately. It's very obvious that she's half-assing it in the ring, and if she's not going to give more effort in there, then stick the beautiful people in the back seat and give the spot to someone who actually wants to work hard enough to deserve it.
And if you're not down with that, we have 2 words for you. You're welcome!
This 20-man Battle Royal main event for a world title shot I thought was decent. I don't particularly like Battle Royals, so this wasn't really my thing, but I thought it came off well enough, even if the finish was predictable. You kind of knew Jeff Hardy was going to win, so this was just about re-establishing him and putting him over, and the match itself wasn't bad. I liked how they were able to incorporate a lot of the current feuds with the eliminations and stuff, and the way they closed out the show with Hardy and Lashley face-to-face I thought did a nice job making that match look important in the very little time they had to do it. So that gives you a big match to look forward to, and gives TNA something to sell the New York shows on starting next week. And in addition to that, we're also going to see the return of the 6-sided ring. And am I the only one who was disappointed that they didn't do some kind of destroy the ring angle at the end of the show to make up for that? That was a big missed opportunity right there, I'm sorry. Really solid Impact this week. Some of the wrestling was good, some of it was great. With the authority figure stuff de-emphasized now, the pacing is much improved. Even them going back to the well with Rhino and Tommy Dreamer did not come off badly. It was still a good segment, even though I personally did not want to see this, and still don't, quite frankly. But if it helped to generate interest in the New York shows, I guess that's what matters most. And it may have ended up doing that, so good. I'm still looking forward to those shows. They taped a bunch of stuff there that I'm pretty excited to see. None of those things pertaining to ECW, but I think there's going to be a lot of good stuff there too. Until then, later.